What is going on YouTube? It's King Rigid. Welcome back to the channel. And today we have,
Hey, this is Hot Soup. I play on the Paralis server on USC.
he is our guest for our first episode of the podcast. So, how often would you say that you play New World?
It used to be a pretty unhealthy amount when I started out. When the game launched, I was doing about 10 to 12 hours a day. I did that for almost more than a month, actually. Then my wife had to sit down with me and have a serious talk. I brought it down to about 3 to 4 hours a night, and now I'm at about 1 to 2 hours a night, about 3 to 4 days a week.
Okay, all right. And I you said something about having around 1,000 hours playtime. So
Yeah,
you
that's
put.
what Steam says. Yeah, 1,050.
And so with all of this playtime, when you jump in the New World, what do you go after? Like, what is the role that you do?
So in other MMOs, I was a raid leader, so raid progression was a really big thing. I feel very competitive about raid progression, and I thought that's what this game would give me as well. So I'm mainly a PvE guy. I do like the PvP. I like the combat a lot in this game, but yeah, I spend most of my time in dungeons and doing the elite POIs with a group of 5 people. I don't like the Zergs or anything like that, but I do like the PvE content.
Okay, and did you play those games pretty heavily the same way as you would play like New World or
Yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely became an unhealthy obsession. I'm definitely addicted to MMOs in that way.
okay.
We wouldn't do like world first or anything like that, but we would take our rating very seriously for sure.
So when you hopped in the New World, like what was the first thing that attracted you as a player? Like what made you say, "Hey, we got you here. We want you to stay right where you are and never leave, no matter how
Yeah,
bad we mess it up."
it's the combat, man. I've never been so interactive with the combat in an MMO. Like having that big open world and knowing that you can do PvE and then switch over to PvP, and there's like really good PvP content here. Just knowing that it's there and waiting for you if you want to do it. I think that whole mix is really a great draw for the game. It's really unique in the space.
And while we're talking about PvP, you go out, you do How do you think the PvP is when it comes to, across the board balance? Is there one thing that's going to be like? Is there one thing that stands out, like one type of build that would stand out to you more than another build? And have you done a lot of 1v1s or weapon testing with certain things, or?
I mean, my friends in my company, we would do duels and stuff like that, but nothing too serious. I tried to do the Windsward stuff, and they were just too sweaty for me, man. I could not hang with that crazy PvP crowd outside of Windsward. Um, I first started playing the game in closed beta with the pre-order, and I really enjoyed the PvP in the open world. We were all low level, in our 20s, uh, ganking people and pushing PvP quests and stuff like that, and that was fun. That was a hell of a lot of fun. And then when the game came out and I hit 60 and got into OPR, I think it was a very different experience. I mean, I like OPR. I feel like there's some builds that work a lot better in there. And anyone with the rapier I can't catch at all. Warhammer
Not for
Great
long.
Axe, yeah, Warhammer Great Axe would kick my butt all the time. I was originally a mage class, and then they nerfed the fire staff, and I went to a spear after that. So I have mixed feelings on OPR. I think it's good. It's just it needs some work. It needs some tweaks there.
In the caches. Now, when I started playing, I got to 60. I couldn't wait to jump into OPR and wars, dude. I thought to myself, I was like, dude, this is gonna be a freaking blast, dude. I couldn't wait to get to level 60. That's what kept me hooked, is seeing that little bar go up and it jump numbers. It was a good feeling. And then I hopped in the OPR, I had a blast. And it got really old really fast. Like once you start being able to see what is important and what isn't important and how your time is spent doing one activity towards another, I started to realize that OPR was actually like the biggest waste of time in the entire game,
Oh man, that's harsh. That's
yeah.
harsh.
Remember I was telling you before that my crafting isn't the best, so I was definitely in there wasting all my time in OPR for a little bit, um
Do
for
you
sure.
think that Can I ask you a question? Do you think that the experience you've gotten PvPing in OPR transfers to other things like war or open world PvP?
No. No, it
Yeah,
does
that's what I'm worried about. That's what I was worried about.
yeah, everything is just so much different. Now there is the way that I play OPR is I like to go onto the flag, I'll grab a couple of people, I'll pull them back and I'll just kill them and then I'll come back or I'll die. It's just basically about getting clips at that point. That's all I'm after. So there's a little bit of the same play style in open world, but for the most part, lately OPR has just been extremely laggy. There's not really, you can't really do much in there right now. So it's basically just sit on top of the keep and shoot at people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
It doesn't. I feel like the lag was good, and then it just got like worse, and it just keeps getting worse. And yeah,
totally.
it's
Like my friends wouldn't queue anymore because they know it's just going to be a desync lag fest, and eventually,
well,
when they hit that 500 point limit, we were just going out getting the brute and then going in and doing some PvP. But that was our only point of going in there was for the gypsum.
yeah, yeah, and not only that, but you would like to think that there's some type of skill behind the wars and stuff, but I have went into a big company, a really big company named Prim, over in the Pluto server, and we had a lot of really good players. We did a lot of wars. So I'll be able to like shed some light on how some of the systems in the bigger companies work, but for war, it's almost just like a chest game, but with so much lag that sometimes some things that you go to like move a pong or whatever, it just doesn't go where you want it to go.
Yeah,
People get stuck in place. People get stuck to where they can't run forward. They have to turn around and run backwards. You can't jump. There's a movement bug. So you would think that going out and experiencing PvP in other areas would transition over into war, but it just doesn't because there's so much lag that there's not really any skill involved. It's just whoever has the most brutes and things like that, unfortunately. So that's the war
yeah.
experience. But you said that you have a family, you got a full-time job, you got over 1,000 hours in the game. That's dedication. But given your current status for your IRL, how easy do you think that it is to like progress in New World? Do you think like how's that
Man,
working?
it's a tough question to answer because before the gypsum update, it seemed like hitting 60 was enough, right? Because I got all my gear off of the market, right? I was at 600 gear score, and I felt like I could experience the content. Then they dropped the gypsum update, and I get it. It gave us more options to up our expertise, which is a really great thing. But, I mean, a lot of that stuff I really don't wanna do. I don't wanna go farm level 55 mobs and do the arenas and things like that, right? And so I feel like progression has really slowed down since that Gypsum update, especially with the expertise nerf. So, I'm trying to get best in slot stuff, especially my jewelry, which was really lacking. If I get a best in slot 600 gear score jewelry right now, I'm not able to take full effectiveness of it because of the expertise nerf. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
eh,
Have you
I
noticed
feel with oh
have
sorry,
you
good, good.
have you noticed the way that the expertise bumps work out in the like if someone were to start at let's say 520. Have you noticed how when you go out and you get an expertise bump, instead of it saying that piece of light armor, like a piece of light foot, like you got the bump there, but instead now it says footwear?
No, no. What does that mean though?
So footwear is across the board, so it's for all armor types. Before, when you got an expertise bump, it would go by armor piece by the weight of that armor piece.
Oh, really? I wasn't aware of that. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
they actually that part of it, I think it's less of a bump now though. I think you're right. But now it says footwear, headwear, chest wear. So it's like they don't because they used to. I can't believe they would even think this was a good idea. But you go out and you get your heavy chest piece could be at expertise 600, while your light chest piece could be at 535.
Oh my god, that's
You
crazy.
know, you know what I'm saying, dude? That's horrible. Who thought of that? You know what I mean? Like Jesus,
But
it
yeah,
doesn't get any worse, dude. That'd suck. But yeah, no, they definitely made it a little easier there. But why do you so the you think that the Gibson actually made it harder for you to progress?
Yeah, I mean, they made it easier to see how you were progressing with the expertise numbers and the gypsum orbs and all that stuff. But my friends don't play as much as I do, and what they explained to me was when they logged in after that patch, and they saw the expertise numbers, basically a mountain just appeared right in front of them. Like they didn't see that mountain before, and now they have this high mountain to climb, and it just killed their enthusiasm for progressing. And when they saw how slow it was, like before you
Okay.
could only do one orb a day. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
Like it feels
yeah,
like forever ago, but I think it was only like 2 weeks ago that they changed that.
yeah, okay.
So just the overall and the RNG on the armor drops are so effing terrible. I For any new player coming into the game today, I don't know. I hope you interview somebody who's going through this right now. Like if they have to accept the 520 drop because it's a slight bump in their expertise, like how does that feel? To me, that would feel really crappy, right? If I wasn't 600 in all my slots.
Yeah, no, definitely. I see where you're coming from. I forgot that they did that, dude. I feel like that was a really long time ago. Like what? Um, yeah. So you would get the gypsum, and even though you could go out and actually do an activity that you wanted to do, you would still have to go out and do an activity that you didn't want to do because your gypsum on the activity that you wanted to do was on a cooldown, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, so that would definitely force a player to have to go out and do something that they don't want to do, thus making the experience a lot worse than it should have been. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I definitely see where you're coming from there. Um,
Like I'm trying to build out a good PVE spear build, and I'm like maybe 3 or 4 pieces away from that, and I couldn't tell you how long it's gonna take. The RNG is so bad in this game that it could take a week, it could take months. So in terms of like a clear progression path, it's pretty crappy right now.
the armor that you get, are you talking about the armor that you get out of the gypsum cast themselves?
No, I'm talking about like drops in
Have
dungeons
you?
and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, no, you don't want to put none of that stuff on.
I know,
The
it's horrible.
now when the Gibson first came out, dude, I opened one, my first one. I had gotten a purple musket, you know, and I was so hyped that these gypsum casts were gonna give me like decent gear, dude. I was like, wow, like I could do this for all my gear. This is gonna be an inexpensive way for me to be able to go out and like get decent gear. And then turns out that that was like a 1 in a million chance. They just give you a bunch of random green
Yeah.
trash out of the gypsum cast, dude. It was horrendous. But when it comes to expertise bumps, while we're on the conversation, there was a full day and a half where I was just getting constant musket bumps. Like one day I got like 25 to 30 musket bumps in one day. Like it just kept dropping.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, it kept dropping the same like it the whole day, dude. It was just musket, 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 musket. That was dope. But yeah, no. If someone weren't going for the musket and let's say they were going for something else like the void gauntlet, that would how frustrating that would have been to get the same
Yeah.
drop over and over and over
Yeah.
again.
I
Um
know. It doesn't feel good. And what tilts me the most is that I know they could change it. Like they could make the cast give you something good. They could make OPR chess give you something good, but they just don't. And that's
yeah,
what tilts me the most.
and it's weird. We're gonna get into this a little bit later, but it's almost like they have to do it on purpose, dude. For like when I was going after the gun, one of my biggest things was, I think that there's a system in the game that makes it to where you just won't get what you're after, so you have to keep grinding for it, which makes sense from like a business standpoint. If you were to just go out and give everyone what they wanted, or if you were to keep the RNG fair and stuff like that, people might not go back to that content because they don't have a reason to do that. So there's definitely, I feel like, you know what I'm saying, that there's definitely a system in the game that stops you from being able to, progress, you know, and it's
Yeah,
weird, but it's
I
definitely
saw
there.
that video and I think you're right. I mean, I was hunting a spear in Genesis for the longest time, and until I went Warhammer and a bow, I wasn't getting it. And then I got it. I got it at 593 and I'm ready to upgrade it. So there is something
593,
there,
that's
but
not bad.
don't you wonder though, like it makes sense from a business point, but it's not a sub game. It's not like they need us in the game every month, right? So why isn't it okay to get the stuff that we want to get after a considerable grind and challenge, but then we play something else and then come back to it when they got new content? Like, why is that a bad thing?
Because the way that the game is set up, right? So you need a lot of people in the game at all times for everyone to have like a good experience. You know what I mean? The way that the game is set up is it's super super like player based, like everything from upgrading things to wars to this. So you get a good population of the game which that leave, which I mean I'm not saying that they didn't already do that, but you get a good population of the game that leaves, and then the people who want to sit back and play the game. I mean, what are they to do? You know what I'm saying? Everything will just
Okay,
get
so
downgraded. And for my server
so
right now, a lot of people, aren't playing because I think that. All right, so have you ever gotten like the pre-patch problem where like that the patch is coming out, so it just makes you not want to play the game because you just want to play the better version of it first?
yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I think that a lot of that's going on right now. Like for wars, we had a couple of wars last night on my server. I think it's Orefra or Orena. I forget, to be honest. I'm new there. Um, we couldn't even fill the war sheets, right? So no one wanted to sign up. So it's definitely a really big team based game. So yeah, if people get what they want and they leave and play a different game and then come back, the people there might not be holding
Man.
it down the way you want them to, So
No, that's a good point. I think you give me a different perspective on this. So what you're basically saying is that they need to waste the time of the PvE player so the PvP systems of the game work.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's basically what I think they're doing, yeah.
Oh, that's rough.
So, given the amount of time that you spent on New World, are you where you think that you should be? So you said that you got like over 1,000 hours in the game from beginning game to end game. Where do you think you are there, and do you think that's an appropriate place for you to be given the amount of time that you spent on the game?
No, that's the crazy part. I still have gear that isn't 600 gear score because it doesn't have the perks that I want, right? I have 599 chest
I
with
didn't even
the
laugh at
perks
you,
that I
dude.
want, and I've rolled like 200 Asmo trying to get a 600 gear score chest piece, and it's not working. So
Oh my god,
no,
dude.
I think for the time spent, it doesn't feel rewarding at all. But like there's a lot of good things about the game in terms of the combat and the visuals and all that stuff. That's what keeps me playing, and the potential. Like I have to say,
Huge
with the
potential.
amount of time that I've invested in it, I'm hoping that they bring out new stuff that's better than what they have now. That I have to hope for that.
Yeah, so we have an update coming out today. It is February 28th, is the day that we're recording this. So we got the update coming out. When the update comes out, this could be the foundation that the game needed from the beginning for them to start adding new content. You know what I'm saying? If they can,
Yeah.
the way that the PTR was, a lot of people were impressed with the PTR. A lot of people were just like excited about being able to experience the game and what it should have been. You think that they could use this as the foundation to just start adding more content to it rather than having to go back and keep reworking the same stuff that they've already had to rework?
I mean, if it doesn't come out with 100 other bugs, I mean, their track record isn't really great on that front. But yeah, on paper, if the combat is in a much better place than it was before, the desync and the lag is all gone, and and we're getting umbral shards and more than just the mutations, which are really awful, by the way. The mutations, I can't believe, like compared to any other MMO's raid content, the mutations are a joke.
Dude,
But yeah,
I did I
if they do
did
all that, this would be
M1,
good.
bro, I did M1 what is that? Dynasty the other day. I actually have the video. I think I actually uploaded it the other day, but I don't know if you caught it. But in one of the videos when we were done killing that last boss, when I walked up to the boss, the only thing that I got was an infused health regeneration pot.
Oh my god, was
Which
it tier two? Oh no, it was infused. It was at
it
least it was
was an
tier
infused.
five.
It was infused, but that was the only thing I got, dude. That was it. Like they scam me, dude. I don't know why they do things like this, but they do. Um, so if there was a couple of things, that you wanted to like the dev team to know, like if there's a couple of like things that you just wish that the dev team would do, or is there anything that this is an ongoing question, I feel like, but if you were to be able to tell the dev team a couple of things that you think would make your experience and the experience of the people around you like a lot better, what would it be?
I would say it's make sure that the challenges that they're putting in front of players is not just a time gate. Like the things that we do need to feel rewarding, and they shouldn't have to worry about people leaving their game, and things like that. Like if they build good content and fun content, people will stay, and people will come back. I mean, that's what any MMO hopes for, right? Is that they keep a steady population, and
Yeah, and
I
then
feel
they
like the
put
devs
the
aren't doing that. They're just so desperate.
yeah, and then they put the mutations in a gear score. Like the only thing that says that it's hard or not is the amount of gear score that you have. Like what is your opinion on that?
It's trash. It's
Yeah.
absolute trash. I mean, I was expecting new mechanics, and they do have the curses and stuff, but like until you hit like M7, M7, M8, and like that stuff is easily avoidable. It's not really that much of a challenge, and like you said, it's just gear score. Like as long as you have your gear score at the recommended number, you'll be fine.
And not only that, but
Um,
I feel like the only hard part about the new mechanics is just the fact that when you light attack or heavy attack in this game, you get locked in place. You know what I'm saying? That's the only hard part, dude. Is like the mechanics are working against each other, basically, you know? You get punished for not attacking the boss, you get punished for attacking the boss. Like, what do you want me to do, you know?
and the mutation orbs is such a letdown. I couldn't believe they released that with the mutation orbs on the cooldowns that they had. I don't understand what the devs are thinking sometimes when they make decisions like that. Like of my 10-person company, and we're all real life friends. We're down to two people left playing the game, and the gypsum was the first exodus. I lost maybe half of our group with that, and then when mutations came out, I lost the other friends because they just didn't see the point.
Yeah, same here, when I joined the game, I joined with like 7 people. In our past history, I played ESO for like 7 years. You probably know this if you watched any of my videos.
Yeah.
But we all did. We were all ESO mains. We all played Sork. And we were good at it. We loved it. So we started playing Sork on this game, and as soon as that patch came out that nerfed Sorks, which at the time Sorks were already kind of underperforming when you compared them to heavy armor great axe warhammer users, because the way that you could just keep light attack spamming the great axe, you were jumping forward, and that jump was further than light armor could roll. You only get 2 roll dodges in light armor, and it was like a 3 tap, right? So they went and they nerfed it, and everyone just instantly left. They were like, "Can't do it. We'll talk. We'll talk to you later, dude. Hit us up when they buff mages again." So yeah, that's and the thing is that a lot of these updates that they're doing, the players aren't asking for this. You know what I'm saying? So it's just
No.
like they're just like no one was like, "Hey, let's make it to where people want a PvP," which they said that, but then no one said that, "Oh, while you're doing that, make it harder to get regeneration potions, make it, you know what I'm saying? Like it just doesn't make any sense. And some of the food in this game is so outrageous. It's actually like mind-blowing. The fact that I can find more diamonds in this game than I can turkey eggs. You know what I'm saying? When there's
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
turkeys everywhere, but there's no eggs. Like why?
Yeah.
You know?
Like
Like the
at one
fucking
point, uh,
huh?
eggs were more expensive than Asmo at one point on my server. It's crazy.
Yeah, the eggs are just ridiculous. And I was gonna get into fishing. I
Oh God,
no,
why?
well, all right. So that comfortable place. Everyone's got like a little comfortable place. Mine is, believe it or not, but you got some coffee. It could be late at night. The family's watching TV. I'm just sitting here. Having a good time, relaxing, fishing. Drinking my coffee, having a good time, and then I realized that there is no money to be made in fishing, like at all. Like I went out and I bought a bunch of like fishing luck gear, and I just had pockets full of fish, and I go to sell them, and they're getting sold for like 30 cents a piece. Like there's no point on fishing unless you get one of them legendary fish,
The
which
legendaries, yeah.
yeah, which you're not going to get. So, I've gotten one, But yeah, that was a really bad experience in this game. Was thinking that fishing was worth something. Yeah, for sure. So you had to leave a review for the game, both for the PvP and PvE side. What would you say about it?
So I'm pretty sure this is my addiction talking, right? I would say
Uh oh.
like the game's combat is worth it to play. It has a lot of potential. I think the current loops in the game are half baked for sure. And I think with some fresh content and rework of all the time gates and all the stuff, I think they called it friction in their last dev blog update. Like if they do actually do what they said they're going to do and clear up the friction between players and the game, I think it will be one of the best MMOs on the market. It's going to probably take a year or something, but yeah, I do think the potential is there.
Yeah, so I don't know if you know this or not, but you said that you played the pre-alpha and stuff, right? So
Yeah,
I heard that these guys were kind of like going after that Dark Souls vibe when it
yeah.
comes to combat and stuff like that. Do you
I didn't
think
experience that. That
yeah.
I was in the closed beta, so they had already changed it, but I
Oh.
did hear about that combat.
Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, you didn't get to experience that.
No,
From what
no.
it looked like though, it didn't look bad, right? But
Yeah, I think stagger was the main issue, right, that everyone had, but,
I
yeah.
was looking at that, dude. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how that would have played. I don't know how that would have played out, especially because like, what do range targets do? You know, like they don't
Yeah,
just get to stagger people all the time. But
yeah.
all right, dude. That's 26 minutes, dude. Thank you for being a part of the little. I don't even know what you would call this. What is it? Was this a podcast?
It felt like a therapy session. You really got me to unload a lot of my
It
frustration.
felt like a therapy session. Jesus Christ. Okay, so thank you for being on the therapy session. This was that's funny, dude. Anyway, thank you for watching, guys. And if you liked today's video and you would like to see more videos like this, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know down in the comments what you guys thought, and I'll talk to you in the next one.